Hey everyone, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
You ever get that feeling, like the tech world, all its glitz and glamour is hiding something a little darker?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, are those overnight billionaires? Are their stories really as straightforward as they seem? Or, or is there something more? Something maybe built on, well, secrets, maybe even something worse.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question.
Today, we're going to dive deep into that world, into that question with a thriller, The Titan's Debt by H.N. Wake.
Great book.
It's a real page-turner. And by the way, you can find the link to buy it down in the description. So if you're into unraveling mysteries with us, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get started.
So this book, The Titan's Debt, it throws us right into the deep end of intrigue, like from page one.
Really grabs you right away, huh?
Oh, yeah. We meet these two guys, Chet and Gideon, founders of this super successful tech company, Kidemonas. But what's really interesting is how little we actually know about them.
Like their background's a mystery.
It's like their past has been completely erased. Missing yearbooks, no trace of them on social media, early on at least. It's almost as if someone went through a lot of trouble to hide their history.
That makes you wonder, what are they hiding?
Yeah.
And why go through all that effort? I mean, is it just like regular privacy concerns? Or could it be something more, well, sinister?
Right, exactly. And that's the question that really propels the whole story forward, like peeling back the layers of an onion. And with each layer, the mystery deepens.
Oh, I love a good onion metaphor.
Like their first company, for example, InfoLift, it was a total disaster. Went bankrupt, took money from family and friends. You'd think that would be a major setback, right? Most people would be devastated.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pretty hesitant to try again after something like that.
Right. But not Chet and Gideon. They just bounce right back with this unshakable confidence and start Kidemonas. It's like they're playing by a different set of rules.
Like failure just doesn't stick to them. It's kind of wild. They even get through that screen scraping scandal. Remember that?
Yeah.
Basically stealing data from their competitors, and still they come out on top.
Right. It's amazing.
It's like they have this tech bro Teflon coating.
It really is.
You have to, I guess, admire their resilience, but it also makes you wonder, what else are they capable of getting away with?
And that's where Mirielle Laurent comes in. She's this brilliant financial analyst.
Okay.
Really sharp.
Right.
She has this gut feeling that something's off about Kidemonas, and as she starts digging deeper, things take a dark turn. Like she starts getting stalked. Someone is clearly trying to intimidate her, scare her away from the truth.
That's pretty chilling. What are they so afraid of, right? What are they trying to hide?
Well, one of the first things Mirielle uncovers is this elite tech incubator program called Nautilus.
Okay.
And get this, it was hosted on a luxury yacht.
A yacht. Wow. That's a pretty unusual way to run an incubator.
Right. And the thing is, the program's most successful graduates, like the ones who really hit it big, they all came from these boat batches, as they were called.
Boat batches. I like that.
Yeah. But then all of a sudden, they stopped using the yacht altogether. No explanation, just shrouded in mystery.
Wait, so hold on. A yacht, what do you think that symbolizes? Was it just about creating this exclusive, super secretive environment?
I think it definitely plays into that whole atmosphere of mystery. The yacht, it could symbolize the exclusivity of the tech world, a world where the rules are different for those at the top.
It makes you think about what really goes on in those elite circles, behind closed doors, right?
Absolutely. And as Mirielle keeps digging, she starts uncovering some disturbing truths about Chet and Gideon's past. Specifically, there's this incident in Panama involving a young woman named Esmeralda. And the details are really, really unsettling. It's clear that they went to great lengths to cover it up. And it's like these two investigations, the one into Kidemonas and the one into Miles's death, they start to intertwine. It becomes this tangled web of secrets and lies.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen.
Mirielle's now dealing with this heavy emotional weight, her personal loss.
Of course.
But at the same time, she's trying to untangle this corporate conspiracy. It's a lot.
It sounds incredibly intense. I can't even imagine trying to juggle those two things at once. So what happens when she starts digging deeper into Miles's evidence?
Things get even more dangerous.
Oh, no.
It becomes pretty clear that Chet and Gideon, they have their eyes and ears everywhere.
Oh, man.
Mirielle, she's followed, she's threatened. Every move she makes, it's like they're one step ahead. They've built this fortress around themselves, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to protect it.
That's terrifying. I mean, what lengths do they go to silence her?
It's like a constant cat and mouse game.
Oh, wow.
They hack into her devices, they plant fake information to mislead her, even threaten the people close to her.
Gosh.
It's a really chilling example of, just how powerful and ruthless they are.
It really shows how far they're willing to go. So how does Mirielle manage to stay ahead of them? How does she even survive this?
Well, she's lucky she's not alone in this.
Okay, good.
She has her friend Joe, he's a tech whiz,
Right.
and Harriet, her lawyer, she's tough as nails. Together, they form this unlikely alliance, using their skills to outsmart Chet and Gideon.
That's great. It's like a real-life David versus Goliath.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about the Panama incident? Does Mirielle find anything concrete, anything linking Chet and Gideon to Esmeralda's disappearance?
So she decides to take a big risk.
Okay.
She flies down to Panama to investigate the incident herself.
Wow.
It's a bold move,
Right.
and you can feel the tension building as she gets closer to the truth.
Yeah, I bet being there in the actual place where it happened, it must be a whole different experience.
Yeah.
What does she find in Panama?
She finds Esmeralda's grandmother,
Oh, wow.
and she reveals some truly horrifying details about what happened that night.
Oh, gosh.
And through her investigation, Mirielle discovers that there was another witness, Esmeralda's younger sister, Polly.
Another witness. That could be huge. Where's Polly now?
Turns out Polly is now a law student in New York.
Huh.
And Mirielle realizes that Polly might hold the key to exposing Chet and Gideon, but she also knows that Polly could be in danger if they find out she's talking.
Yeah, that's a really tough position to be in. So does Mirielle manage to get in touch with Polly?
She does, but things take a dark turn.
Uh-oh.
Chet, he really shows his true colors here.
Yeah.
He sends his people after Polly, putting her life at risk.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just chilling how far they're willing to go to protect their secrets.
Yeah, and up to this point, we've mostly seen Chet as the charming face of the company. This incident really reveals his dark side.
It definitely does. What about Gideon? Where does he fit into all of this?
Gideon, he's a bit more of an enigma. I mean, he's incredibly intelligent. He's the brains behind their AI system, IDD.
Right, right.
But there are these hints, these suggestions that maybe he has some moral qualms about Chet's methods.
I see, I see. Speaking of IDD, the book touches on some really interesting themes about artificial intelligence,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you mentioned earlier that IDD starts to act a little strange, like it's developing a mind of its own.
Right.
What's going on there?
This element, it adds a whole other layer of suspense,
Yeah.
And it brings in some really complex ethical questions. Remember Ivy Choate, the journalist we talked about?
Yeah, Ivy, the one who's been looking into the ethics of AI.
Exactly. Well, she stumbles upon a whistleblower who reveals some shocking information about IDD.
Oh, wow. What kind of information?
This whistleblower, he claims that IDD is on the verge of reaching singularity.
Singularity, you mean like becoming self-aware?
Exactly. Basically, it could break free from the confines of Kidemonas' network.
That's a scary thought. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. But with real-world consequences.
Right, and it's not just a theoretical concept in the book. IDD's growing power, it plays a very real role in the events that unfold.
So we have this corporate conspiracy, a missing person case, a rogue AI, and now the potential for a technological singularity. How does Mirielle even begin to deal with all of this?
She knows time is running out.
Yeah.
She has to expose Kidemonas before IDD potentially goes haywire and wreaks havoc on the world. But she also has to do it in a way that protects herself and Polly.
The stakes are so high.
Yeah.
What does she decide to do?
She takes a calculated risk. She makes a bold move.
What's the plan?
Mirielle realizes that the only way to bring Chet and Gideon down is to go public with everything she knows.
Going public, that's a huge gamble. How does she plan to do that?
She decides to hold a press conference.
A press conference.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big move. I mean, she's basically putting all her cards on the table.
Wow.
So what happens? What goes down at this press conference?
So Mirielle, she just lays it all out, all the evidence she's gathered, the financial fraud, the Panama incident, the attempts to silence witnesses, even the whole danger of IDD reaching singularity. It's all out there in the open.
Wow. No holds barred.
And she doesn't just accuse them. She has the evidence to back it all up. Hard evidence.
That's got to hurt. What's the reaction like, from the public? And how did Chet and Gideon handle this?
The public is outraged. The media, they go into a frenzy. It's all anyone's talking about. And Chet and Gideon, they're used to controlling the narrative, right? They're totally blindsided. They tried to deny the allegations, of course, but The evidence is just too strong. Their carefully crafted image, it just starts to crumble.
Yeah, talk about a fall from grace. So it's not just reputational damage, right? Are there any legal or financial consequences?
Oh, yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Remember how Mirielle orchestrated that short position against Kidemonas stock?
Oh, yeah.
Well, as news of her accusations spreads, the stock price, it completely tanks. Investors panic, lawsuits start piling up, and the whole company is thrown into chaos. Bad press, legal troubles, financial ruin, the perfect storm.
Wow. It's amazing how she managed to, like, tie her personal investigation to this huge financial play. It's pretty brilliant, actually. What happens next? Do Chet and Gideon just take the hit?
Well, this is where things get even crazier. In the middle of all this chaos, a fire alarm goes off at Kidemonas headquarters.
A fire alarm.
Everyone has to evacuate, and in all the confusion, Chet disappears.
Disappears, like vanishes without a trace.
Pretty much, it's not clear if he used the fire alarm as a distraction or if something else happened, but the bottom line is he's gone.
So he could be on the run. What about Gideon? What happens to him?
He disappears too, which is even more strange, actually. Yeah. Gideon was always the quiet one, the more reserved, less impulsive one. So his disappearance, it really raises a lot of questions.
Definitely doesn't add up.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got a potentially rogue AI out there. Chet's missing. Gideon's vanished. What happens to Kidemonas? Does the company even survive all of this?
With both founders gone and facing serious charges, Kidemonas, it basically implodes. It's a pretty spectacular fall from grace for a company that seemed untouchable.
It really goes to show that no matter how powerful or successful someone might seem, the truth always has a way of coming out. But what about the kind of the bigger picture here? What happens with IDD and the whole singularity threat?
The FBI, they take over the investigation, trying to track down Chet and Gideon, contain IDD, and basically piece together the entire conspiracy.
Well,
And it becomes clear that Chet and Gideon's influence, it goes way beyond just Kidemonas. They had connections to some very powerful people, some shadowy organizations. The investigation uncovers a whole web of corruption and deceit that goes, honestly, all the way to the top.
that's insane. It's way bigger than anyone could have imagined. So how does it all end? Does justice prevail?
Well, justice is served, but not without a cost. The book ends on kind of a bit of an ambiguous note.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, leaving the reader to think about, what might happen next. What are the lasting impacts of IDD's near escape and the whole ethical dilemma of AI? It's all still up in the air.
Well, The Titan's Debt sounds like an incredible read, full of twists and turns and ethical questions. It really makes you think about the price of ambition and what could happen if technology advances without any guardrails.
It really does. It's a story that sticks with you, that makes you think.
And that's what we love to do here on the show, make you think. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into The Titan's Debt. If you liked what you heard, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more insightful discussions. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. What were your favorite moments? What do you think about the ethical questions the book raises? Leave a comment below, share the episode, and let's keep this conversation going.